Hey guys, Michael here. This is take number 3, gonna be the last take, I promise. I started meandering way too much on take number 2 and take number 1. I said some incorrect things. Went to the record store 2 days ago to pick up this record. I'd known it had been sitting there for months, literally months. Paid too much for it, paid the guy full price, even though I knew if I didn't buy it, and he knows it too, if I don't buy it, it's going to sit there. This is the Fugs' first album. That's the original photograph that was used on the first album, which was originally titled The Village Fugs Sing Ballads of Contemporary Protest, Point of Views, and General Dissatisfaction. It was issued in 1965 on Broadside and Folkway Records, and then was reissued in 1966 in its best known version on ESP discs. ESP, by the way, stands for Esperanto, just in case you didn't know. This is the bass reissue. I do not know the date of these reissues, but they did reissue a lot of ESP catalog, and it wasn't official, it was licensed by ESP Disc for them to do so. It's an Italian label, and that was why I let it sit there for so long. For, well, a couple of reasons. One, I knew that if I didn't, buy it, nobody else was going to probably. And the other reason being that I was really hoping that I would find an original affordable. The Broadside Folkways versions, those go for some major bucks, and I'd be really lucky to find it. While I was there, I had to buy a few other things. By the way, I am going to do a thing about the Fugs somewhere along the line. This makes the 7th album that I have in my collection on vinyl today. Some of them are first presses, some of them are line reissues, and one is, I think, an ESP disc reissue. But because I want to talk about them someday. For me, personally, they play a pretty big role. I bought that first album back in probably early 67. I was probably still 15 when I bought it. I've been around 15, 16 years old. Then I stumbled on this. He wanted a fair price, a pretty good price for it if it were a first press. He wanted a little bit more than I should have paid for a second press, but oh well. This is the 1978 reissue or repress of My Aim Is True. I hated this album when it came out, didn't buy it at the time, but came to love it within a pretty short period of time. But I didn't like it at first. I still don't know why exactly, what it was I didn't like, other than that, I don't know, I just didn't. This also I picked up. I paid a little bit more reasonable price for it. And these both are in excellent condition in general, although that one, the sleeve isn't so great. And one of them, is it? I think maybe it's the other one. If I had pulled it out of the plastic, the whole thing, no, I don't know. Neither one of them look that messed up now. But there's one of them I thought had a bunch of looked like someone had been cutting cocaine on it. I think it's this one. Just like little tiny cuts and nicks. Yeah, it's this one. But Get Happy. This is a 1984, if I remember right, reissue. And initially, I thought maybe it was a first press because of that. It's got the gold stamp for promotional use only. Well, it turns out doesn't really make any difference. It's not the 1980 pressing. For some reason, they repressed it, and when they repressed it, they sent out promos of it again. Not often they do that. Then I picked this up. And I think I paid more than I could have gotten this for less if I'd ordered it online through Discogs or something. I don't know if it would have been in as good a condition, but it probably wouldn't have been the Columbia House pressing. I've heard so many people kind of ooh about this and what a great classic it is. I don't entirely agree. This particular record is, aside from one little pop on side 2, I would probably I would have to grade this a very strong VG plus. The inner sleeve is in great shape. The disc is in great shape. The outer sleeve is in really quite nice shape. I remember the band from that "Calling All Occupants of Interplanetary Craft" song, that single from the radio, and I remember making fun of it when it came out, thinking it was kind of stupid. I know I may ruffle a few feathers saying this. I think it's a good album. It's not as an album, it doesn't really hang together all that well. It's a little bit split personality, they don't seem to really know whether they want to be an eclectic Brit psych pop style band, which would make them kind of retro, or be a 70s Brit West Coast kind of boogie sort of band. And they kind of go back from one to the other on that. There's nothing bad about this album at all. They're very good musicians, and they do a really beautiful job. I don't really get the feeling that this is from the heart. But then, I don't know. In that period of time in the 70s, I really wouldn't have been all that motivated to buy this. I'm glad I have it. I don't consider it like a great classic. It's kind of like that Captain somebody or the other, I like that stuff. Don't necessarily. I guess the reason I'm saying that is I'm not really seeing any. This isn't like breaking new ground or doing anything that hadn't been done, pretty well already by 1976. So, but yeah, it's a good album. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying I don't recommend it. I do. I think all of these records are records I would recommend. I didn't buy anything that was a disappointment to me. Stumbled upon this, and this one I did get a good deal for $3. This is a first pressing of the Country Joe and the Fish LP, CJ Fish, which was their last studio album. They actually only made 4 albums in the studio before they broke up. This is probably the weakest of the 4, in my opinion. But I'm thrilled to have it, and that leaves Here We Are Again for me to find, and I definitely want to find an OG of that. And then someday I'll find an OG of Electric Music for Mind and Body, which I have as a repress, and I'm happy to have it. And then I found this. This is what's been playing in the background, and this really made me excited. And I don't know if I paid too much or not. I really don't care. It's near mint, and I would have to say, visually, it is definitely near mint. Whether it's now, there should have probably been a tip-in with this, with an order form on it, although the catalog was printed right on the inner sleeve. But this is King Missile, Dogfly Religion. The second album by King Missile, Dogfly Religion, which was John S. Hall, and Dog Bowl, who was kind of a folk guitarist, sort of anti-folk, freak folk kind of guy. John Hall is a poet primarily, and their first album, Floating on the Hump, and their second album, They, are, I think, real classics. Their third album, Dog Bowl left, and he put out several solo albums on Shimmy Disc. So because of that, John Hall dropped the Dog Fly Religion, which he said was Dog Bowl's idea to put that in there. And the band from there on out was known as King Missile. And they put out several albums. Their third album, Mystical Shit, is still on Shimmy Disc, and then they got signed to a major label. They had some minor success, were much more electric, and from everything I've heard, John Hall was increasingly dissatisfied with things and got really kind of disgusted when they kind of started being treated as nothing more than a novelty band thanks to Detachable Penis, which is what most people know about them. I love these early records so much. They're just beautiful, and I think it sandwiches very well this whole little very small pile of records that I bought a couple of days ago, in that I think there's a real connection, kind of a line of descent, so to speak, between the King Missile and the Fugs, and that whole New York street freak folk thing that I really love. So that's all I've got to show you, and I'm going to stop now because I think I've already talked probably minutes and minutes and minutes longer than I intended to. Peace out, folk.